The Twin Cauldrons have been extinguished, putting an end to a phenomenal Winter Olympics in Milan Cortina. The Twin Flames in co-host city Milan and Cortina were put out during a closing ceremony inside the ancient Verona Arena. The ceremony paid tribute to Italian dance and music. A total of 160 medal events were held in the roughly 3 weeks of competition. And a lot of those medals are coming home here to Colorado. That includes 4 Avalanche players who played in a thrilling game in the men's hockey gold medal match today between the U.S. and Canada. The Americans coming home with gold thanks to an overtime winner by Jack Hughes. Team USA won 2-1 in an instant overtime Winter Classic. Thanks so much for joining us this evening. I'm Mark Salinger. It was a thrilling game if you woke up early to watch it, and many of the Avs players shined in that game to help bring gold back to the U.S. I want to bring in 9 News sports anchor Chris Tavares now to talk more about that, because the Avs really were pivotal for many teams, for all 6 of the countries that they were representing throughout the Winter Olympics.
Yeah, and all 3 of them finding the medal stand. It was a great showing for Colorado Avalanche in Italy for the Winter Olympics. Today's the culmination of a great Winter Games for the Avs. 8 guys from 5 countries, with 6 of them winning medals. Artturi Lehkonen and Joel Kiviranta, they won bronze yesterday with Team Finland. And today, Nathan MacKinnon, Cale Makar, and Devon Toews skating for Canada, with Brock Nelson wearing the red, white, and blue of the United States. And of those 4, 2 of them finding the box score, with Toews setting up Makar with the assist in the second period that ties the game up at 1 apiece. But it's Nelson who comes home happy with a gold medal, while the Canadians deal with a heartbreaking 2-1 overtime loss in the gold medal game.
It's crazy, yeah, crazy to think about that right now, and just trying to soak this in and enjoy this with all the guys.
Not much of a difference. Obviously, 2 really good teams, and we had some good chances. We just couldn't finish them off.
Kind of after the first couple minutes, the first 5-10 minutes, I felt like we really started rolling, and that's kind of the tough part. That's just the way the game's going to go sometimes. We had some really good chances, some really good looks, and just couldn't capitalize for whatever reason, so it's unfortunate.
It's a bit of a reversal from what we saw last year during, they didn't have the All-Star break, they had the 4 Nations face-off, right, and Team Canada got the win in that one over the United States. Obviously, you'd rather win the gold medal than
certainly
a tournament, but great hockey all throughout.
We talked about 8 Colorado Avalanche players representing 6 countries. All 8 of them scored. That's amazing. Great showing for the Avs.
And you look at what they're doing together as a team with the Avalanche.
Yeah.
They got 83 points.
Stanley Cup.
Exactly. 27 games till the playoffs get started.
I love it. Chris Tavares, appreciate it.
Yep.
We'll talk more about all the Coloradans bringing home some medals here in just a couple of minutes in sports. For now, though, let's take a turn to the weather right now. You can see out there over Golden, Colorado earlier today. The sun is out. Another beautiful spring-like day to go hiking or whatever you're going to do outside. But it certainly does not feel like February. Temperatures are expected to continue to be nice and warm, flirting with the 70s this week. Corey Reppenhagen's joining us this evening in his red, white, and blue. Hey, Corey.
Hey, yeah, it has been a strange winter for sure, but I'm representing the red, white, and blue tonight. So much joy, so much happiness, so much excitement provided by those guys tonight. And Brock Nelson's coming home with the gold drip. That's awesome. We've got mostly clear skies across the west, except for some high clouds. But check this out. All the Olympians that are going to be trying to fly back tomorrow morning, they're going to have a hard time flying into the northeast here. We got a pretty ripper of a snowstorm and a winter storm going on here down east. A lot of those flights will have to be probably diverted to Florida. If they want to get home, we got to get those Avalanche players home as soon as we can to get the NHL season back underway. Man, those guys are just going to be riding high for the rest of the season. These high clouds here across the state here, not really impacting the weather too much. These are very high and very thin clouds. You can kind of see they're still kind of in the sky right now. Temperatures into the 30s, 33 at Denver International Airport. Won't be quite as cold as it has been the last few nights, but it'll be a little chilly here. Probably staying above 20 degrees though. That's where we've been most of our winters. It's been a strange winter, not only for the highs and the dries, but also for the lows. The lows have been relatively warm. Take a look at this. We've only dropped below 20 degrees here in Denver 24 times. That is the fewest cold days in 45 years. And we're on a warming trend here. We're going to be warm here. This is the next 3 days in Denver. Warm on Monday. Could have a record on Tuesday. Windy, very windy on Wednesday. So I'll talk about that coming up in just a few minutes.
Corey, thank you. A vote to approve teacher layoffs has been scheduled for the Poudre School District's Board of Education. This was first reported by our partners up north at the Coloradan. The district requested to approve the teacher layoffs for the 26-27 school year. The district faces a potential budget cut of up to $17 million due to declining enrollment and reduced state funding. The state legislature is working to address a $1 billion budget shortfall throughout the state. The vote is scheduled at February 24th meeting. That's this Tuesday. After that, a committee will begin reviewing data to make recommendations. So meanwhile, for years, Colorado's classrooms have needed more teachers than they've got. But now the state has created a new tool to track where they're losing teachers the most. They hope it can help districts turn that trend around. Now News reporter Rachel Krause has that story.
Colorado's teacher shortage is nothing new. The state needs more teachers than it has, especially in rural areas.
And those have been fairly persistent. We've seen some recovery since the pandemic, so better supply of teachers, but we're still seeing those shortages in every content area across the state, in every district.
Data from the state shows for the last school year, Colorado had about 2,800 teacher vacancies, and about 600 of those jobs were never filled. Dr. Kristen Kipp with the Colorado Department of Education says there wasn't a good way to really track and understand the issue.
But we didn't have a way for them to drill down to see, okay, if an educator leaves a particular district, are they showing up in another district? Are they truly gone? And how do we look at those patterns across time?
So Kipp and her team built the tool they needed.
I had one particular superintendent that got really excited when he saw the dashboard because he said, wow, we're losing special education teachers at a higher rate than the state. That feels like a big problem. So then that leads to the next step.
Kipp's teacher retention database is new, and with 10 years of data broken down by district, teaching specialty, even salary, it's helping drill down where educators are going and why.
You can see in any given one-year period, we're seeing about 10% shift. So 10% are not showing up in the next year's collection of public schools. And over 5 years, it's about a third.
Already, the data is dispelling myths.
Yeah, I'm a former educator myself. I had this belief of special education teachers don't stay. And when we dug into the data, we found that actually they do. They're just far more likely to move around.
Kipp hopes it helps districts better support the teachers they do have. And hopefully with it, keep them in classrooms longer.
Exactly. That's the next step.
Kipp says she's been demoing the new tool for teachers in districts. She thought that they'd be overwhelmed by the information that they've now got at their fingertips. Instead, she says a lot of districts are really excited to see where their challenges lie and how they can tackle the problem head on. Rachel Krause, 9 News.
The killing of a cartel leader in Mexico is having a ripple effects across many Americans across the country. People traveling to there or people trying to get back home. The U.S. State Department issued a warning to U.S. citizens to shelter in place amid the unrest in the country. The Mexican army killed the leader of the Jalisco New Generation cartel during an operation in the state of Jalisco. Nemesio Osuega Cervantes led one of the most powerful and ruthless criminal organizations in Mexico, according to authorities. His death was met with a powerful reaction from the cartel. Members of the cartel burned cars and blocked roads in nearly a dozen Mexican states. Now, meanwhile, the killing of that drug lord set off impacts in the tourist city of Puerto Vallarta. Violence in the area shut down the airport. That had impacts for travelers here in Denver. New video is showing smoke billowing over the city. United Airlines put out an alert that civil unrest in Jalisco would impact flights to and from Puerto Vallarta, the state's capital of Guadalajara. Denver has direct flights to Puerto Vallarta. Southwest and United flights out of DIA to the city had to be diverted or canceled today. Same story for flights coming into Denver from that area. One man in Lakewood that we spoke with, who has a home in the city, says he doesn't know when he'll be able to leave.
You know, this stuff started happening around just before 9 o'clock. And as we're watching the smoke and hearing the booms and the explosions, I thought, well, we probably aren't going to go today, so I should try and rebook our flights.
He hopes after the fires are out, he'll be able to recognize the city that he's known for 20 years. There's still no word on when the flights will resume.